With the recent update on Microsoft Flight Simulator bringing over so many features, you might be stuck, wondering where to start. An awesome place is testing around with the replay tool. It's still in beta and there is many bugs with it, so it's not perfect, but if you want some awesome cinematics, it should be your first stop. In today's video I'll be showing you how to do it, how to use it, how to get it set up, going through the limitations and what I think is good and bad. It's going to be an interesting one because it is by nature a very interesting tool. Without further delay, let's get right into it. Hello there, I'm Pilot Stud and welcome back to another video. If you want to show your support, leave a nice comment down below, click that red subscribe button and check out my merch store. I've got some very interesting products on there, aviation related of course. Be sure to put your orders in around now to make sure you get it for Christmas. It's not long and you can get 10% off any item in the whole store with this code. Anyway, let's get right into it. So here we are on the menu in Flight Simulator. Renault Air Race, I've got it and I love every second of it, but you're not here for that, you're here for the replay tool. So how do you get it? Well, you'll need to be able to get to the developer mode. If you don't have that, you'll want to come into options, general options, developer, and then developer mode on. Simple as that. You'll then have a bar up the top. To enable replay mode, you're going to want to do it before you load into a flight, just to make sure everything's working. You'll want to come over to options, come down to experimental, it's the second to last area, and press enable replay panel. That'll basically bring over the replay panel to your Microsoft Flight Simulator control bar, which all of you are familiar with. Let's load in now and we'll show you how it works. Now while we're loading up here, let's talk about a major limitation. This is from the flightsim.com forum. And frankly, I don't know why Asobo put it in, although I'm sure there's good reason. Part of the replay tool's allure is that you can move your camera around after a flight to get some awesome cinematic shots. Sadly, this has been restricted to only be able to be done with an Xbox controller. You cannot use a keyboard to control your drone camera, for example. If you've got an Xbox or PlayStation controller, you want to get it plugged in. I'm sure this is a limitation that will be solved later down the line. But at the moment, if you want to use your drone camera to get some awesome kind of external shots, then you'll want to be able to get a controller. Here we are, we're loaded into a new handcrafted airport. Let's click ready to fly. We'll do, I don't know, maybe a takeoff just for the example. So in order to get the replay tool, you're going to want to come up to the control bar up here and you should see an icon that looks like this. If you don't, you want to make sure you're in dev mode, click options and then press enable replay panel. In fact, I'll show you. If I do that, it goes away. If I come back up and press enable, it comes back. Click on it and as you can see, it looks like how you'd expect it to look like. Fits in very well with the Microsoft Flight Simulator interface. Now up the top here you've got sequence recording, which basically is you record and stop recording. You've also got set sequence location and reset sequence location. Reset will bring you back to the start. Here you've got a drop down box which will contain your replays. That's right, you can have a collection of replays throughout a flight. So for example, you could record your takeoff, your landing, and maybe a bit of cruise, and if you stopped them, they'd come and save in here individually. You'll see what I mean in a minute. This bar here is to name your replays, and then you can save. But you'll see how it works in a minute. Clouds are moving very quickly over here. Moving down, we've got timeline controls. As you can kind of guess, this is the bar that allows you to move where you are in your replay and your recording. And this is play the recording and this is stop the recording. Down here you've got tracks. This will make more sense once we've recorded something. Camera track recording. This allows you to swap to a new camera track and basically film a new kind of cinematic collection of camera movements as opposed to going off the ones you recorded as you were flying. It will make more sense because it is quite confusing, so it will make more sense when we've recorded a flight. Load and save, probably the most obvious thing here. You can save your recordings to replay later and you can also load them. Doing that, it will bring up a folder, it will bring up your Microsoft Flight Simulator folder. You're then going to want to make your own replay folder to save it into, as long as it doesn't overlap with anything, and then you'll be able to go in there and replay off them. Show/hide user interface doesn't really seem to do much at the moment. But anyway, without further delay, let's hit that record button, and you can see we already get some stuff going. So we can now hit that record button. That means every movement we make now, from camera movement to aircraft movement to button pressed, will be followed in the replay. Take our parking brake off to make sure we don't flip the nose over. But look at the plane, it's already blowing in the wind. It's that windy today. Lots of rudder pedal required today because we are blowing right off the runway. And let's pull off before we get blown off the runway. It's very windy today, I have to say. I was putting in full right rudder there and it was not doing anything. But there we go, we're up now. So replay mode is currently recording us. To stop, all we need to do is press that stop button. It's as simple as that. That's the basics of it. Record, stop. As we're following the plane with all these camera movements will be reflected in the replay. Of course, you'll swap over camera track to make sure that doesn't happen, because sometimes you won't want to see your camera movements if they're jerky or not very cinematic. But yeah, that's the simple bit about it really. We're now going to show you how to use it. So click stop. You can then either save it as a name. There we go, take off. Now something you will notice is that drop down bar. You'd think it would open now. Apparently it's a bit of a bug. In order to see that drop down menu, you do want to record another sequence and then just stop it quickly. And there you go, we've got takeoff there, which is 1 minute and 33 seconds long, and replay 2 there, which is the one we just did there. Let's go back to takeoff and we'll click play in the timeline. And as you'd expect, it brings us back to here and is following through with our camera movements. That's because it's recorded it. You might not want that, so in order to stop it, all you want to do is click pause, bring it probably back to the start just so you see what you're doing. Then come down to camera track recording. Press record, and that takes you over to track 2. I've now got full movement over my camera. I'm going to come into external mode. Remember, you won't be able to do this if you don't have an Xbox controller. You won't be able to control your drone camera. Luckily, that's exactly what I've got. And there we go, you can see, clicking play now, you can basically just make some awesome cinematic shots as you would with other replay tools. Let's minimise that so you guys can get a good view, and then we'll talk about a few of the other features. It's going to take a bit of a while. There we go, parking brakes off now. And in a minute, I'll put the throttle up. There we go. See me battling with the wind there. Didn't work too well, I've got to be honest. But just look at those particle effects, really well done. And we're up. Now of course you'll probably want to move your camera around like I am here. If you want to do that you can, just make sure you're recording a new track, otherwise it will kind of like stop you and force you in a certain position. Of course it's not perfect and you will experience some more bugs, but it's as simple as that. You can go through most of the camera menus and select them to get a different view, like I did at the start of the video. And if you want to do anything with focus you can do that, and it saves it as well. Beautiful plane. Now there's also some more stuff you can do. You can even change the weather to set it kind of in a keyframe. We'll pause it and we'll pause the track recording. Make sure you do that, otherwise you won't have any control over where your plane is. And there we go, we brought it back. Notice how it flipped my camera back to the start because we've gone off track 2. And if I move it forward, it will follow us in that camera track we just recorded. Let's put it back to the start. You can press reset sequence location and it does normally do it, however I find it's a bit temperamental. Now there is more features. You can see we've got these two plus buttons here. On the left it adds a camera track keyframe, and on the right it adds a weather keyframe. Weather keyframe, I don't really recommend you using it because it's quite buggy, but when it works it can be quite fun. It's as simple as that. Come to a moment you want to, I don't know, as soon as we get up off the ground, click the weather keyframe, it comes up with a yellow dot like this, then come up to your weather system, turn off live weather, and I don't know, put it to anything you like. Clear skies will probably do us, to be fair. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It is a known issue on the Microsoft Flight Simulator forum, so I guess it's just luck of the draw, but you can see the difference there where it goes between clear skies. Maybe we'll put another one at the start. It might be nice to us, it might not. Trust it to go wrong during a video. That doesn't seem to be working on this recording. It has worked before, as you can see from this EasyJet recording. If you do experience this issue, basically that recording isn't going to work with it. You're going to want to make another one. You can also just simply add these keyframes to click on them to enter a certain point. For example, touchdown or being 100 feet above the ground. You can also add a camera keyframe, which, would you believe it or not, does exactly what it does with the weather one when it works. It just swaps over your camera location. But before doing this one, importantly, you'll want to go to a new camera recording track. Otherwise, it won't work. But I've got to be honest, it can be quite laggy sometimes, and as it's in beta, it is quite likely to crash. It's happened to me a few times using it. But if you use it well, like I did with this EasyJet preview, it can be very nice. Load and save I've already covered. You save it into a file, click load, and there it should be. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial going through all of the features of the replay tool. It's not perfect and it's still in beta, but there we have it, guys. From me today, that is all. Thank you so much for watching. If you have enjoyed, be sure to like, comment and subscribe. Thank you to my first class channel members. Thank you to Captain Matt Russell, Jesse Wiseman, Ethan Bubeck, Simon Schmidt, Owen K, Fanny Leibenberg, Jonathan Desmond, and hello. You guys really do help me out. Anyway, from me today, that is all. I'll see you around. Goodbye.